Hi, this is Matthew, and welcome back to the Emotional Space. I have something that I want to talk about, and if you're just beginning the video, it might make you feel uncomfortable. It's a very, very deep topic. It's about sexual molestation, and it happens and occurs within families, and it happens and occurs, with babysitters and other things that happen. The scenario that I'm going over today has everything to do with a friend that shared with me their experience, because I shared with them my experience of being molested as a child. And they were molested by their brother, overpowered and molested by their brother, which was a very traumatic experience. I was overpowered and molested by my babysitter when I was 3 or 4. But this particular thing that I'm going to go over today kind of is me explaining to my friend the reason why they're going through what they're going through, but also it's kind of redirecting back towards my experience of what I went through as a child. So I've written everything down because I'm not really good at articulating everything. So if you'll just bear with me and listen, you'll understand the reason why this topic is so important for emotional wellness. When you shared with me your personal trauma about your brother sexually molesting you and overpowering you as a child, after I shared with you my experience with being molested by a female, it suddenly became apparent in my mind why you have struggled with having good thoughts towards men who remind you of the good things your brother did to cover up all the bad things he did to you. Your brother cognitively twisted the meaning of good in your childlike, impressionable mind. He destroyed your ability to separate the good from the bad by mingling truth with evil, wicked actions. He used good things to justify his unspeakable behavior. He manipulated people into thinking he was good still, and you were a bad child. Now the damage is done. He has destroyed your ability to see good in anything and in yourself. Every time a man of good nature walks through that door, or has shown you goodness, and makes mistakes, you somehow start to study them very closely to see if they exhibit any of the behaviors your brother had. This not only takes away from that person's individuality, but it keeps you from seeing that person as a person who can still be good and make mistakes at the same time. The power struggle is not with that person. It has always been a power struggle within your mind to get that projected image of your brother out of your head. When you see someone of male gender doing these things or saying things that are closely related to your brother, you begin your attack to avoid being hurt again. That image of your brother overpowering you is now a PTSD response, where you start reliving your trauma with your brother all over again with the person that is not your brother. Now it's just not with males, it's with anyone who tries to take away the position of power that you have acquired in your job. Your brother's image is projected onto anyone who doesn't recognize, encourage, emotionally support, or disagrees with you. This is not to say you dare to do it to anyone in a position of higher power. When I shared with you my deepest personal scar of being overpowered by a female as a child, you might say that I'm doing the same thing. But I have been through 15 years of cognitive therapy and have just separated from someone who abused me in similar ways. I appreciate you trying to advocate for everyone who has experienced what you went through. But the truth is, as long as the PTSD or trauma remains, you will always push away good people. You are upset that you cannot control the situation that is going on right now in your life. You're upset that you cannot make everything right. You will never be able to forgive what your brother did to you. So you will never be able to forgive, or you will never be able to trust. You believe that because I question you or anyone you are trying to rescue or save, that I am a traitor and a liar. You believe that anyone who could possibly do any good and question your newly found power and control is evil and should be eradicated immediately. Your position was acquired the same unhealthy way your brother acquired his position of power over you. You have locked that childlike self in a closet because you think the person is bad or the child is bad. And every time that child bursts out saying, "Help me, I'm alone, I'm scared, I need help," you lock that child back in the closet and tell the child that she's bad. And she shouldn't come out until you tell her to. The only problem is that child will continue to come bursting out of that closet, but it's not the child you want to see anymore, because that child is now filled with hate, resentment, and carries a lot of trauma, which will now be projected upon generations to come. I read you these things, whoever's listening in, not to shame anybody for having these issues, but to let you know that if you do not get help for them, you will become the same person. And this is where the world is at today. This is what's going on in the world today. Lots of children are being neglected or molested or physically abused. Neglect is the biggest one, because neglect turns people into narcissists. But it's a very, very fine line that we walk when we say, well, I'm not neglecting my children, or I'm not doing any of this, when in actuality, maybe you are, but you're not aware of it. Or maybe you are aware of it, but because you have so much trauma, you're unable to cope with it or deal with it in healthy ways. This is why it is important not to glorify bad behavior, to glorify mental illness, and to glorify all these things, which is what the world would have us believe, that if we just support them in their mental behavior, support them in their bad behavior, then maybe they will change. Or maybe we don't want them to change at all because we've accepted it. So, I have gotten to a point where I'm feeling like, people, we need to wake up. We need to start addressing ourselves and asking ourselves questions in the mirror. And we need to start getting to a point where we accept things that are good, but we're able to separate the bad from the good again, which right now is a very blurred line. I'm thankful that you were able to listen in today. I hope and pray that everybody who listened in, who might be damaged by somebody who hurt them sexually, physically, or mentally, might get the help that they need and might get the healing, so that not only that they can forgive and love again, but have the peace of God with them. I'll see you in the next video.